Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely cinematic fantasy journey. Imagine being a legendary, unbelievably powerful ancient beast, only to suddenly wake up reborn in the most fragile, frankly humiliating new body you could possibly imagine. Yeah, it's a wild ride of survival, hidden magic, and some massive ego checks. Seriously, what actually happens when a 9,900-year-old beast gets killed literally inches away from godhood and then wakes up with an overwhelming craving for a baby bottle? It's like the ultimate cosmic joke. Our main character goes from being this terrifying, untouchable apex predator to a tiny creature whose stomach growls way louder than his roar. Section 1. Death and Rebirth. Okay, let's dive right into this and look at the exact moment the Black Emoji lost his previous life. So after nearly 10 millennia of intense, brutal cultivation, he was just one tiny step away from ascending into a true dragon. But out of nowhere, a terrifying madman attacks him, completely willing to die just to take the Umugi down with him. But hey, instead of his soul fading away into nothingness, he actually opens his eyes, surrounded by a massive mountain of treasure. And the contrast here is just staggering. You've got a mind forged over 9,900 years, cold, arrogant, basically a god. But his new physical reality? He's a fragile, tiny black dragon hatchling who literally hurts himself just by falling over. The guy still has this terrifyingly sharp intellect, but he is completely trapped in a body that demands regular naps and snacks. And being this physically weak triggers something completely unexpected, an emotional flashback to his past life. He suddenly remembers a nine-tailed fox. She had actually abandoned her own ascension to become human, all for love. She used to try and teach our cold-hearted Emogi about true happiness. She'd say, "I found someone who loves me." And when someone loves you that much, you naturally want to return that feeling, don't you? Back then, he just thought she was an absolute fool for giving up all that power. But now, in this incredibly vulnerable new life, he's starting to finally grasp what she meant by returning sincere feelings. Section 2. The Golden Dragon's Care. Now, let's talk about the person who's about to show him exactly that kind of sincerity. While he's waddling around his new treasure-filled home, he bumps into this massive, otherworldly presence. Thinking he's under attack, he tries to let out a ferocious roar, but it's just this tiny, pathetic squeak. Luckily, that terrifying presence instantly melts into a super kind blonde woman named Christina. She completely mistakes our ancient, brooding serpent for a helpless, adorable little baby. And this brilliantly illustrates just how insanely overpowered his new adoptive mom is. Christina isn't just some random nanny. She is a light attribute dragon, over 3,000 years old. She's the leader of the Golden Dragons, a Dragon King candidate, and the balancer of the Celestial Demon War. That is a heavy-hitting resume, completely flipping the script on his chances of survival. So what exactly does a ridiculously proud ancient beast do when he's faced with an overpowered guardian like her? Well, he swallows his pride. And I mean that literally. His internal monologue is absolutely hilarious here. In his head, he's screaming, "I am a fearsome Amugi," but the second Christina busts out a bottle of sweet, delicious beast milk, his baby instincts completely take over. He quickly realizes he has to perform cute little tricks just to satisfy his new body's humiliating cravings and secure his survival. But we have to ask, can a proud, dark serpent really just kick back and accept a life of endless pampering? Especially when he has this glowing, magical watcher spirit named Ray hovering over his shoulder 24/7, totally blocking any real training. His thirst for power is just bubbling right beneath that cute, squishy exterior. He knows, deep down, he desperately needs to get stronger, so he is never, ever killed helplessly again. Section 3. Hatching the Phoenix. This relentless drive for power brings us to a really pivotal and, honestly, super funny turning point. To reward him for growing so fast, Christina brings him a very special treat, a bag of phoenix eggs, perfectly roasted in red dragon fire. Obviously, our guy immediately starts scarfing them down to absorb all that sweet, magical fire energy. But there is this one egg that is just unbelievably stubborn. It will not crack. Getting frustrated, our hatchling decides, you know what? Enough holding back. He taps into his latent magic, summons the terrifying phantom of his 9,900-year-old emoji form, and unleashes an epic, overpowered strike. All of this just to open a stubborn snack. But instead of a tasty meal, the shell shatters to reveal something he definitely wasn't expecting. Yep, out pops a brand new hatchling, and it is a total disaster for our emoji. For one, it looks exactly like a pigeon. Second, it just absorbed all of the dark and fire power he just expelled to break the egg. Third, it immediately imprints on him, following him around like a shadow. And fourth, it literally will not stop crying. Our main character is just absolutely fuming that his hard-earned magical energy got hijacked by this needy, chirping little bird. When Christina gets back, she is absolutely stunned. I mean, why in the world did a divine, sacred firebird from the Garden of the Gods just imprint on a creature of darkness? It doesn't make any sense. It's a massive, unheard-of omen. This bizarre bond completely freaks Christina out, forcing her to leave the nest and seek out the Red Dragon clan for answers, which leaves our hatchling totally alone for the very first time. Section 4, The Mandrake Mistake. So, what does our genius, ancient protagonist do the absolute second his guardian leaves him unsupervised? He rebels, of course. He decides he's officially had it with the nest and that annoying watcher spirit, Ray. He wants freedom and he wants to train. Let's move to the timeline and see how fast this turns into a complete disaster. Minute 1, he effortlessly replicates Christina's spatial teleportation magic, which, by the way, is an absolute genius-level feat for a baby. Minute 5, boom, he's in a distant forest. Minute 10, his ancient instincts lead him straight to a 1,000-year-old magical herb. And by minute 15, he takes a huge bite of what turns out to be a mandrake and is immediately poisoned. It is such a brutal reality check. The half-eaten mandrake literally starts screaming as our hatchling collapses. You see, his 9,900 years of experience totally failed him here because he's in a completely different world now with totally different rules. Honestly, if a mysterious passing dragon hadn't swooped in and fed him a stabilizing pill, his shiny new second life would have ended right then and there. Section 5, The Magic Inheritance. When Christina finally discovers what happened, she is absolutely terrified. She realizes her little hatchling is way too unique, way too smart, and attracting way too much danger to just be raised like a normal baby dragon. If the higher dragon lords find out what he can do, they might just wipe him out. But before we get to Christina's big solution, I have to mention that annoying little pigeon-like phoenix. It actually steps up. While the hatchling is lying there recovering, the little bird cries over him. And it turns out its tears contain this pure cleansing force that neutralizes the chaotic mandrake poison, while also infusing him with a faint trace of fire magic. So the annoying sidekick actually becomes a total lifesaver. Seeing his incredible, almost impossible recovery speed, Christina makes a highly desperate choice. She decides to use a forbidden, once-in-a-lifetime spell called Inheritance Magic. She declares, "In the name of Christina Larcadia, I pass down my life and my memories to the child before me." Guys, she is fundamentally merging centuries of her own knowledge, abilities, and domains straight into the hatchling's mind. It's an immense risk. Normally, this would completely crush a newborn's fragile mind. But as we know, our main character is definitely not your average newborn. He leans on that iron willpower he forged over 9,900 years to survive the agonizing, mind-melting pain of this magic transfer. And not only does he survive it, but he perfectly integrates her knowledge. This actually unlocks a wild, game-changing, system-like interface right in his vision. He literally turns her desperate, risky gift into his ultimate weapon. Section 6. Taming the Red Dragon. Now equipped with all this new knowledge and finally a voice, thanks to a magical translation interface, he is immediately put to the test. Christina has invited Prediction, the super hostile, fire-wielding heir to the Red Dragon clan, to act as a sort of mentor. Prediction shows up with this glaring, arrogant attitude, just totally looking down on our hatchling and the little bird. So what does our emoji do? He launches a highly calculated psychological reform plan. Step 1, he diffuses the tension by offering Prediction these sweet, magically infused cookies. Step 2, he forces Prediction into a caretaking role by making him feed the annoying bird. And Step 3, using a magical bracelet Prediction gave him, our hatchling transforms into an adorable human boy, literally weaponizing his own cuteness to completely disarm his rival's hostility. It is brilliant. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the psychological depth the main character uncovers here. Prediction isn't actually some power-hungry tyrant. He's just an incredibly lonely, awkward kid. He lost his mom and was basically forced by his dad, the Lord of Red Dragons, to hide all his insecurities behind this fake mask of power and arrogance. By just offering a little bit of genuine friendship without some hidden agenda, our hatchling completely flips the script, turning an arrogant rival into a flustered, loyal ally. But we have to wrap up today's explainer on a massive, looming threat. Right at the very end of their lesson, Prediction starts eagerly, almost desperately pushing the hatchling to pick a true dragon name. Now, our main character instantly puts his guard up. Why? Because a dragon's true name is a highly sensitive, incredibly powerful activator for word spirit magic. It gives you direct power over them. So is Prediction just being a genuinely helpful friend? Or did the manipulative Red Dragon Elders secretly send him to extract this true name for their own sinister plots? It's a huge cliffhanger, and it totally changes the game moving forward. So what do you think his next move should be? Make sure you stay tuned to find out exactly what happens next.